Welcome to Flutter Festival Episode 3. It is a hour long or more, we can say. It is a exercise or programming video, you can say, where we try to code out from the scratch. And this is a type of uncut video, so there is no type of cut. So it is actually the process we are telling that how an app is made and what are the difficulties or problem you can face and how to overcome them. So if you see from the last episode we have made a auth UI where a user can come, which will act as a first screen of our UI, where the user will come and add their credentials. So let's today make it to the live where we will connect it to the backend, which is Firebase, and we will use Firebase services to create an authentication system. And so the today lecture will be more in the way of advanced type. So please be okay with it. And if you stuck anywhere, you can reach out to me via my email or the GitHub account. So let's start. So for the state management thing, we will use provider. And provider is a very popular library in the Flutter domain. You can see from the popularity level. So let's add the provider package to our spec.yaml file. And for the authentication system, we will add Firebase Auth and Firebase Auth. So let's add Firebase in the last. First, we will deal with how to make the package are done. So the first task will be to make here two options where a user, if the user has an account, then we can make a sign up or login. So let's start with that. So okay, let's start this dependency first. So, yeah, now we are good to go. So we will make a login logic where all the back logic will reside there. So let's put it up. So to start with provider, first we have to make a class, and we will extend it to the change notifier, which comes pre-built in Flutter. So first we have to take some decisions. So first we have to code out this. So what will we need account or have account? If the user have account, they can log in, or if the user do not have an account, they can sign. So let's start with that. So first we will create some enum classes. Sign in status, and here we will have three classes: login, Okay, so that's great. Selected an identifier. Oh, so preferred lower camel case. Okay. So now we will make two functions that string me primary message return. So we will let sign up dot status dot login. If it is a login status, then we will go with login, or else we will do go for sign up. So the first status always will be a login status. So if the status is equal to status signing status dot login, so it will be return the login. Otherwise, it will return sign up. So let me make it a single. Okay, now a secondary text for if the user account wants the account. So if the user is don't have an account, so we'll go for need an account. So need account and have a account. Okay. Now for the email and password, we'll make text editor, text available controller, and it will be a email is equal to text editor controller and text editing controller password. Text editor. Now expose the method. So whenever you make a editing controller or state manage controller or anything controller, it is a like string controller. So it is a best practice to dispose when it is of no use. So let's dispose that. Dispose yes. And password dot dispose and confirm password dot dispose. And for that we'll have to call super dot dispose. So we have this logic, and another logic we have to make that. So if the user click on this button, so the status should change. Okay, so we have to make that function. So let's make that void change status. So if status is equal to status sign in status dot login. So we will do the status is equal to sign in status dot sign up. And whenever you want to change the notify the change, so we have to call here notify listeners. Second, or else the same thing will be there, but the only thing is here that sign up dot login. Okay, now let's discuss how it works. So provider example. Yeah. So we can see from this image. So we have made a class which will be, for example, if we see this example, so if this item is controlled here. So for example, our notify class which we have made will reside here, and it will look for the changes which have been done. So if the changes are from here, so it will, if the changes is from bottom of the tree, so it will first go to here, and then these it will notify all the listeners who are registered to this. Means if cart is registered to my cart, so the my cart will update all the things which all the widgets which are listening to my cart. Or a better example you can take, yeah, listen. So can I zoom it? Okay, okay, yeah. So our provider class, which will see in some time, will reside here, and these are the widgets will be not which will be connected to this. So if something is changed from this widget, then it will be notified to here, and it will give the it will all give them it will give notified to all the widgets which are listening to it. So in example, let's see in this is action. So this is my class, which is a change notifier class. So I have to give this class to a upper tree. So I am going to give it here. So to do that, we have to first wrap with a widget, that is change notifier provider. And to that, we have to give parameters, create parameter to it. And we will actually register it to the logic state we have made here. So actually, this is the provider which we have added to the widget. So that, okay, as I mentioned, open link in new tab, or I can zoom it to the image. Yeah. So the first thing, we have added our provider to our widget. In this case, the widget is scaffold, and we want to see the changes which are done in this. So we have to make a consumer which will consume all the changes, or which will listen to all the changes which is provided, which is happening in this. So it will be clear by seeing the example or by coding. So let's see that. So we will wrap this with a consumer. So for the simplicity, we will do the tab with the builder. Then we will add a consumer. And we have to, in consumer, we have to give the consumer to which we want to consume, or which we want to listen to. So we will give the consumer which we have made, and for here we can give data or whatever name you want to give. So let's recap what we have done till now here. So first thing that we have made a class where all our logical resides, and we will extend with the change notify listener. So with that, we have added provider package in our pub spec, then added a change notifier provider. And to listen to the changes, we have to wrap it with the consumer. So the advantage of adding consumer is that the whole tree will not be built if the change is happening. Only the column part which is inside the consumer. So the blocks from here where all the widgets which are here inside this will only be changed with the action. So the whole build tree will not build. So now let's see. So first we want to update with our text. So our text were hard coded last time. So let's find that. Yeah. So here is our text. So first we have to give a data, and the data is the same that which we have defined here. So let's give a login logic data, and so done. And here we have given a primary message, and the second was here login logic data dot secondary message. And we have made a callback. So if we press, so it will change. So we will change. So you look why I made that thing. So if change status. So now if I will click on this, then change status will be fired, and it will check for the status. So if the status is login, then it will convert it to sign up, and the whole UI will be refreshed. So example, if we see read an account, so you can see that now the primary text is sign up and have an account. And if we click again, then it will be a sign up, login, and then sign up, need an account. Login, sorry, need an account or sign up. So the basic thing is if we do not listen to this change notifier provide. So we will see nothing will happen, but the state will change. So to notify the changes, we have to add a notify listener. And when this notify listener is fired, then it will go to the consumer, and the consumer will act here in this widget. The whole tree will not be built. So we can see from example, if we write here print SSS. Okay. And now we see it. So we see that the first time this SSS has been printed, and if we now change this, so the SSS is not printed. So our tree is not built again, but our widget is changing. So that's only the benefit to use consumer instead of using a provider at top of here. So now let's move to add more logic. So I think now we should move to, if the user has pressed sign up, then for sign up there must be a confirm password thing. So let's go there. So here is our text field. So here we will add a thing. So if login data dot status is equal to status sign in status dot login is sign up. Okay. So here if that's the case, so give me a text field or else a size bar. So now let's add that, confirm password, and gray. I think that's good. That's great. Now see. So we have a confirm password and things. But if you see that it is not looking good, so let's add some animation here. So let's now combine all our text fields to a column. So now that's all in column, and our UI is same as earlier. So now let's add it to a animated container. Duration, constant, milliseconds. So 200 milliseconds is fine for me. Curve, curve dot is in cubic. So let's define a height property here. Double height. So if the status is sign up, so we will increase the height to 400. And if the status is 2, then our height will be around 200. So let's add this height login data dot height. So it is over flow. So now let's start. So we can it is giving a bad type of animation. So let's go it to not 400. So 200 is enough and 150 is here. So let's do 180. Now let's see the changes again. So if I click on Enum account, so it goes like this. That is great. So we can do a little less height also. So 140 is I think fine, 140, and it should be 160. And okay, now audio is good. Okay, Enum account. So it goes to 1, it is fine. And for the duration, okay, duration. So for the duration, we take it as 800 or 500, or we remove the server. So this looks good, but only the problem is we have to increase the height somehow more. So let's do it as 190 and let the initial height to be 150, around 145. It is great. 145. So we can see that now it is an animation and it's look good rather than having a simple showing of the button. So now let's connect it to the backend, which is the main thing we all have been waiting for, Firebase. So let's first to go for the Firebase, we have to type Firebase on Google, then click on it. So to make account on a Firebase, you should must have a Google account, which everyone has. And so let's make this. Go to console. So the thing is simple. You have to. This is the console of the Firebase. So this is the first screen which you'll see. So here you just click on add a project, and you have to give the name of your project. So you can give name, and that's it. Good. And for the account, you have to select default account or what you want. So for it. So this process takes some time to get completed. So before that, let's look at here. So the main thing to implement Firebase authentication, you have to use the library Firebase Auth, which you will get on PubDev. And for we have to also include Firebase core. So we are just to finish up. Okay, we are great to go. So first to start, you can select for an iOS device, Android device or web. So first the implementation is based on web. So we'll select a web app. So what is the name of the web app? So Unimind we can say. And again for the hosting purpose, which we'll see in the future videos. So you can go with the, so I will set up for the hosting also. So in the next part of series, or if the time permits, we will go with the hosting solution also, how to host that. And this is your Firebase configuration. So you will need this. So let's first add the Firebase Auth and Firebase core. So for that, select Firebase core and add it to the pub/spec file. And the second one is Firebase Auth file. So to add Firebase Auth, it is very simple in a Flutter app. Only you have to do is to follow their guide example. So if we go to the Firebase Auth main section, so first we have to add this. So we have to make our main function as a future. So let's do that and make it as a async function. Then we have to add these lines. And if it is not a web app, then add it a Firebase in a slide or else add this configuration. So we are making for both. So first we will add these ports of lines. And for that we will import Firebase Foundation, Firebase core. And for the API keys, we will just copy these things and paste it here by repository. So this is good to go now. And as we have done changes in main app, so it's my recommendation to close the app and restart it again. So the Firebase setup is done now. So click on next. I will next and okay, continue to console. So our web app is set up. So let's go to the authentication system. So for authentication, the Firebase provides a lot of options. So to keep the thing simple, we will go with email, Google, and GitHub. So first, let's go with Google. So allow user to make their email address as password. Enable Okay. Okay. Save. And now the email method is enabled for us. So if we look at here no user. So let's make something at the back of our app. So the main example is a basic example is here. So we can see that they are using a string which returns a user and it looks at the auth state changes. So we will make a logic here also. So let's build that. So to keep the Firebase and all the logic separate, we will make a services folder. So in basically the services folder, it will contain all the things which we will deal with the Firebase. For example, auth services or fire to, or we can name it as simple as db.task for database things. And so for auth, we will make again a class which is basically named as auth. And we will first initialize Firebase Auth. So we will do like make it as a private, make it as a private variable. And if we see that first they are doing is if we go to the yeah. So first we'll do is make a Firebase Auth instance. Oh, dot instance. Okay. Now we will make a stream. So as for example, it is given a stream. So actually the auth state changes actually look at the things if the user is logged in or logged out. So all these things are managed by auth changes. So and it returns a future. It returns a string of user. So let's make that a string user on auth changes, and it will return auth dot on auth change. Great. Now the second thing is that okay. Now we have to make a future which will return a user, and we will name it as login, and it will be a sync function, and we will await for it, and final user is equal to. So as you can see that things are very simple in the Flutter and Firebase thing. Only you have to sign in with email and password. You have to only call this method and you have to pass your email and password and the things are done. So let's make a method, for example, email, and that's done. And if the user, so it will, we make a check. So for the check, we will add a try catch we can add. So in future, we don't deal with something that, okay. So final user. So we have to await for this, and if it is successful, then we will return the user, or else we will return a null value. So for the sign in, the procedure is same. It is very similar to that. Only we have to give in place of sign up, and we have to just change this method. So to sign up. So we have to only do with create user with email and password, and that's the logic done. To log out a user only, we have to give log out, make a function, make it asynchronous, await, and auth dot logout. So you can see that how simply these three functions, which are the basic function of any application, can be made in Flutter. So now let's add this logic to our main app. So let's make a login here. So let's wrap first, as given we have to wrap with a stream builder. So let's first add with a builder. So it will be a consumer, or we can simply leave it to like a stream builder that provides a user, and okay, wrap with a stream builder, and that will be a provide a user of type null. And we can call our provider here, like for example, final auth is equal to provider dot auth context, and we will call here auth. Okay. So we can call the auth dot on change, which this is function. So if it has a data, so we'll go to the home page, or else return the auth get, which is in our case is login. So let's do that. If snap, okay, snapshot has data, so means the user is login, else we will return a home page. So I think there is no home page built now. So let's make that app home page from here, home page. So now let's include the home page in our. So now it is done. Now let's hot reload the app once. So we can see this. Oh, okay, the provider you are, yeah. So the problem is that we are actually calling the provider without adding it to our without adding our widget. So for example, we can see in the login thing that first we have called the provider, then we are using it. But here we have first, but here we have not called it anywhere, but and only we are calling it here. So first we have to give a provider before calling it. So you can see here I have not given all. Okay, let me zoom it. So you can see it here. I have not first initialized or created the auth provider, but I am calling it here. So the error mainly says this, that the provider you are trying to read is in different routes. Means it is not. So first we have to create the provider or add it. So we will do provider. And we will add here auth. Okay, and for that the main parameter create is required. Okay. So what I have done now is that I have created a auth provider, and this created auth provider is now called here. So I have created here first and called it here, but in the previous thing I was only calling before creating it. So it is a major thing that you should remember, that before calling a provider, first you have to create it above it. So you can see now if I hot reload, so you can see now the error has gone and our UI is back as it was. So now let's move to the make our thing active. So if I type here and click on login, so the things must happen. So let's go with it. So in the logic and sign up, so we can call the auth state here only. So let's make that. So final auth and make a constructor. Okay, okay. So it will be required. So it is asking for that. So we can call the provider also here also. Final final auth. Oops, sorry. Auth is equal to provider dot auth context. So now let's go to the login section and make a variable which is called, we will call that a user variable. And we will make a button here, provide sign in, sign up, and we will make this method as a simple method. So now we will look at status if status is equal to sign in status dot login. So if the user is login, so we will give that auth dot sign in login email and password. So the email and password will be stored in our text editing. So text editing controller. So we'll do text dot text, and else we can go for await or dot sign up dot text dot text. Okay, now if it is successful, so it will return user, or if it is not successful, then it will return what it is. It will return a null. So we can add a check here. So final user is equal to, okay. Okay. Okay, if okay, leave it. We'll do it. So this is the so if it is login, then it will take login password and in password. So you can add here some checks. For example, if email dot text dot length, or you can add a valid or not valid thing, or you can add here if the sign up. So if the password dot text not equal to is equal to confirm password dot text, then the user will go into the sign up page, or otherwise else we can make a remove this string error is equal to null. So we can do error is equal to password not matched, and the last will do notify. So now we can actually link this to our button. But before doing that, I want to make a boolean so that it will look more natural if we do sign up and sign in. So first, let me do that. Do loading is equal to false, and we can wrap this with a try catch block. Instead of a if block. Hmm. So if the loading is true, so we'll do loading is equal to true, and we'll notify the listener. And if there is some error, for example, network connection is to or user not found or user doesn't exist, so we will do loading is equal to false, and we will notify the listener on anything. So then for the same thing, it will be loading is equal to true, and if there is some error, so we'll do that loading is equal to false, and the same thing is there, and for the error also. So now things look good. So now let's try in our login form. So one more thing extra I want to add. So for example, if the user has a DDB, something like this, and if it switch, so the text remain here. So if the user have don't have account, so I want to clear this first so that the user get a good experience. So I want to do that email dot clear password dot clear. Same for the sign up also. Okay. Yeah. Same for sign up and confirm password dot clear. Okay, confirm password may not be clear. So let's add that. Or let's make without making this too much function. Void clear up and let's add these things here and just for clear up here. Let's look so good rather than writing three. So change the status, change the height, clear up all the thing, and let's go. So let's again this is. So if I'll click on new account, oh, I think I have not reloaded it. So if I write something, click on need an account, it is again not working. Oh, sorry. We have to add a notify listener here also. So now what reload this application? Now this might this will work. Okay, let's see.
Oh, it's not working. Oh, I know why it is not working. The reason lies here. Wait, let me check. Yeah. So the exact reason lie here, where we have not connected our email login to the text form. So if we go and check our form fields, so we can see that our form text form field doesn't have a controller. So first let's keep that controller. So it will be input. What was the form? Login data. Login login data dot email. Login email dot password and login email dot confirm password. So now it will see. Yeah. So everything gets clear. Another thing that is our password should be visible to everyone. So let's do that first. Observe text. So to hide something, we only add a obscure text, and now we can see that everything gets hidden. So as a normal password, you can see as a normal form that it acts. Oh, sorry, I have to do it too. So I want to hide. So it will be true. So let's see. Yeah. So our password is also hidden from. So now let's check our it's working or not with the file. So let's make something dummy variable dummy jk@gmail.com and okay. So before login as sign up, so we should give a roundup or indicator that our action is going or happening. So for that we have implemented this loading variable. So only we have to now is to link to this. So let do that first. So if so, this is our primary text. So let's add it to a column. And now let's do this that login data dot loading. If the UI is loading, means if we are connecting to server, so the boolean variable will be true. So we have to just give a check that if it is true, then so a loading, else so our basic login sign up button. So let's check now. Need an account. jk@gmail.com password and let's sign up. I think there's some error. Okay, I closed. So no, now our account is not created. So let's check what happened to the UI or what is wrong with it. So when I press, sorry. So I've actually not given here any method to call when this button is pressed. So first we have to give that login data dot which function we have created. So our function name was sign in function. So sorry for that, I have not given this function here. So now let's again restart our app reload again and not so let's make an account. GK and the data. And we see a loading spinner here and we are on our home screen. So to check that, let's give a text. Welcome to Unimind. So we can see that welcome to Unimind. Okay, let's give it like this. Welcome to Unimind. So let's check it on our Firebase that our user is here or not. So let's refresh this first. And we can see the user JK is present here with the user ID of this one, UID, this with the date, this. So everything can be seen from here. So at the last one issue I want to tell here. So let's see that what is the issue first. So let's log out. No, don't log out. Exit on best. So the benefit of provider is that adding provider to the main app, so we can directly call a provider for the auth dot okay dot logout. Yeah. So the problem which I was telling that so we'll see it again. So first, if the any user close the app, so if the app restart again, okay. So if the user is logged in, but by the way, if the user is logged in, first it will show this, then it will show this. So it is a kind of unusual behavior that we are seeing here. So let's explore the reason for behavior. What is happening here? So first the stream builder is calling on and then it's going on auth change. So it will take some time to verify that if the user has some data or not. So the first the user don't have any data. So it is connecting to server. So server has sent no data that if the user is present or logged in or not. So first it has gone to login. But when it is updated, yeah, so we can say when it is updated and has some data, so it again jumps back to the login page. So we can see it again here. So the flow is something like this. First, it will head to the enter. So first it will go to login, then it has some data, then it will go again back to home page. So we can actually add a statement here that if the snapshot dot connection state. So if the connection state is on waiting, so we will return a activity indicator so that so it is taking time and to getting the data, so the connection is waiting, and so show me that spinning, and if the user is logged in, so take me to the home page, and if the user is not logged in, then take me to the login page. So let's again add a login here. Okay. Okay. So again, you can see that if the user is so first is taking for the connection, and if the user is logged in, then take it to the home page. So if we exit and let's check for the our sign login. Oops, it was very close. So let's try it once more time. So let's go check here at the rate of gmail.com. So actually that is not moving over the wall. So let's fix that first. Okay. Yeah, we have to add a state here that if the loading is good, then if it is done, then do it false, and then notify the listeners. And for the same here, and then close it. So now we can see that what actually want to make it. Now it will be. So it's moving and it's going to home page. So exactly we have seen today how to create a user connected to the Firebase and how to add a login authentication system, how to manage and handle the state, and how to keep our UI and backend logic and logic separate in a separate file. So you can see how easy it was. Just we have created a variable and done everything without, and or if in future we want to add something logic here, so we can direct add the logic to here without disturbing our UI, which was login. The main benefit for using provider, we can see that we have used a stateless widget, so we have not gone to stateful widgets. So it will actually give a boost or good. It will be good, and it will consume less resources to that for that. So today's for this only. In the next, we will add some checks where when a new user will be created. So it has to give, if a new user is created. So first we will ask his name, password, everything, or sorry, password. We'll ask the name or his interest or what they want to see or things, other things. So the next agenda will be to create a database where the user data will be created and stored there, and we will see how to read and write to the Firebase. So that's for today.